Captain Marcus Chen hadn't expected his deep space salvage mission to end with 3 sets of luminescent eyes staring up at him from the debris field. The derelict station had been drifting for months, its hulking frame twisted by some catastrophic impact. Marcus and his crew aboard the Wayfarer had picked up faint life signs, probably malfunctioning equipment, he'd thought. The insurance company wanted confirmation before writing off the station as a total loss. But when Marcus pried open the emergency shelter in Section 7, he found them. 3 children. Not human. Not entirely. They were small, no older than 7 or 8 in human years, with skin that shimmered between pale blue and silver depending on the light. Their eyes were too large, pupils contracting into vertical slits when his flashlight swept over them. But their faces, the structure of their cheeks, the curve of their lips, those were disturbingly human. "Father?" The smallest one whispered, the word crackling through a universal translator that had seen better days. Marcus froze. "I'm not father," the middle child repeated, more certain this time. They stumbled forward on unsteady legs, reaching for him with 4-fingered hands. "You came back." The eldest, a girl with Marcus's own dark hair streaked with silver, simply stared at him with an expression that shattered something in his chest. Recognition mixed with relief, joy warring with years of abandonment. "Kids, I think there's been a mistake," Marcus said gently, crouching to their level. Behind him, his second officer, Sarah, gasped over the comm. "Get Dr. Yuki up here, now." But the children weren't listening. They pressed against him, small bodies trembling, speaking in a hybrid language that was part standard English, part something melodic and alien. They told him about waiting, about Mother's promise that Father would return, about the cold and the dark after the station died. "Who's your mother?" Marcus asked, even as his medical scanner confirmed what his eyes were telling him. These children shared approximately 47% of their DNA with him. Impossible. He'd never been to this sector before. Never been with a Zendari or any of the dozen other species capable of humanoid crossbreeding. Hell, he'd been married to Elena for 5 years before the divorce, and they'd never even... "Mother is waiting," the eldest said, her voice carrying an eerie certainty. "In the garden." The garden turned out to be a biodome 3 levels down, somehow still maintaining life support when the rest of the station had gone dark. Marcus moved through corridors choked with frozen water vapor, the children clinging to his arms, chattering about games they'd played and lessons Mother had taught them. The biodome's doors hung open, revealing a wilderness of bioluminescent plants and floating spore pods. And in the center, suspended in a crystalline medical pod, was a woman. No, not entirely a woman. Marcus's breath caught. The figure in the pod was Zendari, her skin the same shifting silver blue as the children's, her form elegant and alien. But her face, his knees nearly gave out. It was Elena's face. Not similar. Not close. Identical. "That's not possible," he whispered. "Scans indicate it's a clone," Dr. Yuki said quietly through his earpiece. "But not entirely. There's Zendari genetic material interwoven with human DNA. Captain, this is illegal bioengineering on a scale I've never seen." The eldest child, she'd told him her name was Lyra, pressed her hand to the pod's surface. "Mother got sick after the accident. She said the station was attacked. She put us in the shelter and told us to wait for Father." Marcus's mind raced. The timeline fit with Elena's disappearance 3 years ago. She'd been on a deep space archaeological expedition that had simply vanished. No distress call, no debris field, nothing, until now. "Sarah, pull up everything we have on Elena's last mission," Marcus ordered. His hands were shaking. The children watched him with those 2 knowing eyes. The data came through in fragments. Elena's expedition had discovered something, a Zendari genetic archive from before their species had achieved spaceflight. There were references to the Progenitor Project, to species synthesis, to creating a bridge between humanity and the Zendari, and then the record stopped, redacted by someone with serious military clearance. "They took her," Marcus realized aloud. "Someone took Elena and used her DNA to create..." He looked at the children, horror and wonder mixing in equal measure. "To create you." "Mother said humans and Zendari must learn to be one family," Lyra said softly. "That's why she made us. But the bad people came. They wanted to stop the project." The smallest child, who'd introduced himself as Kale, tugged at Marcus's sleeve. "Will you take us home, Father? Mother said you would know where home is." Marcus looked at these impossible children, his children, in a way that transcended biology. They hadn't asked to be created as experiments, as bridges between species, as tools in some cosmic game of genetic politics. They were just kids who'd survived hell and wanted a parent to keep them safe. He thought of Elena, brilliant and idealistic Elena, who'd always believed humanity's future lay in cooperation rather than conquest. She'd given her life, or at least her freedom, to prove that humans and aliens could create something beautiful together. "Yeah," Marcus said, his voice rough with emotion. He gathered the children close, their strange warmth seeping through his suit. "Yeah, I'll take you home," behind him. In her crystalline prison, the Elena that wasn't Elena remained frozen in time, a mother who'd sacrificed everything for children who weren't quite human, protecting them with a father's face they'd recognize even if they'd never met him before. As the Wayfarer prepared to break orbit, Marcus made two promises. He would find out who'd done this to Elena, and he would give these children the life their mother had dreamed of, one where human and alien weren't enemies, but family. The children called him father, and for the first time in 3 years since Elena vanished, Marcus Chen felt like he had a purpose worth fighting for, even if that fight would take him against the very institutions that had created this mess, even if it meant war. Because that's what fathers did. They protected their children no matter what.